So on the YouTube or maybe internet, you may heard many kinds of news and also article about that. And I think it is strange because this year the Olympic take place in Paris, France. Really, I think that France is a really like well-developed country, but this year it is crisis. Like many people say that it is the worst, one of the worst Olympic in the history because of the like organized part and from the food for the athlete and many other aspects. So in the Olympic history, the year that said to be one of the most like greatest performance is the Olympic in 2008 took place in Beijing. The performance is really great, and I searched that kind of performance on YouTube, and I have to like, wow, it really grateful.
It's amazing. But so I heard a couple of news related to this Olympic, and I felt like organization is important when we plan something. Because even though people may seem to think that, oh, it's not really a big deal, because at the end of the day, people just kind of care about the talent of those athletes. But I think the opening ceremony or the closing ceremony is fairly important because it represents the country. I think France will be the country that most people suspect, and in the future, it will less likely to host any more events.
Yes, because like initially, people like the local resident in Paris, they didn't agree with this kind of decision. They do not want to hold the Olympics because they said that they can like the authority or maybe the government can use that kind of money for many other problems such as some kind of social issue. So they want the money to use in those kind of issues. They do not like waste the money in the Olympics event because many years when the Olympic happened, so the country organized that they made not much profit. They lost many kind of like $1 million. So the local resident they do not want that to happen. They want to use those money on some kind of social issue. So they like I also found a kind of website on the internet about that kind of event. Um, and they disagree, but finally, this kind of event still happened. So in the beginning ceremony, the performance, you know that the Celine Dion, the singer who sing like My Heart Will Go On, so she come back and really, she have a really great song there. But beside that, there are many other performance that I feel that from that just from my own perspective, I do not like that much. Like it's not just my taste, not my cup of tea.
Well, I think the suitable performance for this the suitable performance for this Olympic is definitely some performance that will boost the confidence of
Yes,
the
the
athlete
energy.
instead of because I think that of course they want to promote LGBTQ rights. I think it is nothing that I would shame on them, but the way that they promote it is not related, and I don't think it's a very good way that they promote it. So it's
Yes,
not really related to the organization and the competition.
yes, and in the event, I also like heard the news that the athlete and many people participate in they cannot use the air conditioning. Like there are no air conditioning for that. But if they hire or maybe they buy one, so they still allow. So I like cannot see any kind of reason for that. Like I don't know what the point of not allow using air conditioning, but when hiring or maybe buying one, it's still allowed. So they're just using air conditioning. Yeah, really strange them.
Well, what is your favorite sport in the Olympics?
Well, I'm not really interested in Olympic, but there's some kind of sport that I find that it is really great to see. For example, like swimming or something like that. Yes, I just find some kind of fantasy because other firstly I do not have a fully understanding, like do not have fully knowledge about that sport. So when watching that, I feel a bit boring because I do not understand like what happening there.
Well, of course. So there are some sports such as football or basketball. We don't really understand how the game works, so it will be difficult. But in other sport like swimming, it's obvious to see who won, right? And I think that other sport I also like is skating. I think this is only the summer Olympic. I think at the end of this year there'll be the Winter Olympics, which they will show us more some sport like related to winter, like skating or skiing or snowboarding.
Yeah, and there's also a really big matter in the Olympic Paris this year that made many people feel uncomfortable and feel like unsatisfied about that. About the food, you know that like athlete, the food and the diet is really important for them because it like affect their kind of performance in the office today and many other aspects. But many people they told the reporter and also some kind of BBC news like they do not have a fully meal, they still feel hungry because you know that athlete their diet is much more than the normal people because they have to like have enough protein and also have enough energy for practicing and also for competition. But they said that they still feel hungry and their diet is really not enough, so they have like hired their own chef for to cook for them.
Yeah, I think for one thing, it's not really necessary for them to, even if they want to promote like greens, yeah, green diet. I think instead they can change that slogan to like sustainable and healthy. So eating healthy does not mean that you always have to eat vegetable or some dairy, but I think that they can also prove that their meat produce is like of a good quality, and that slogan is actually better.
Yeah, and also like all the meal there is some kind of vegetarian for vegetarian. So I think it's not suitable for some kind of like for some kind of sport event like this because you know that when the athlete or maybe a sport person, or maybe normally a swimmer, so they had to have enough protein and many other kind of nutritions to build their muscle and also many other aspects to build up the body. So when they do not have enough nutrition, so they like cannot perform well in the competition. So I think that is the really big matter that make many athletes and many other people they angry about.
Of course, who wouldn't be angry?